If you want to be my friend, you had better go and get a pen. Here we go. And maybe we can keep in touch. Like we did in the old days. It wasn't so long.
Do it together on a show called Pen Pals.
And I wish you well. Oh, sign your pen pals. I tried to sing. It was a more fun challenge. Try to sing whatever Dave's singing.
Well, yeah, we were finding our way through it
We did
together.
Beauty riff. You did get the main words in there. Pen pals,
good.
write a letter.
Good.
The themes were present.
All right, I saved it long enough. Marathon.
Yes.
How was it?
Horrible.
What mile was the worst? Or miles?
Oh, boy.
Is it 14 where you start to go, no?
No. Well,
9?
Mentally, it's kind of even hours before the thing even starts.
Yeah.
You're like, what am I doing? I should just
Why am I eating
get
all
on
this
the plane
pasta?
and go home.
Yeah.
But it felt pretty
New York?
good. New York.
Okay.
The
It
New
felt
York
pretty good.
Marathon.
Yes.
Okay.
November 5th.
First marathon?
4th.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
But worst one, and the one that I was the least prepared for.
Yeah. Fitting.
Yep. And it was rough. I got through it and it was fine and I felt good at the end.
Yeah.
And then the next day it's super fun, especially in New York. It's really funny. You like put your medal on and you walk around town like very uncomfortably. But then everyone else does too. Everyone else who also did it does too. So like 2 times a block, you see a stranger and you kind of connect with them.
Yes.
Sometimes
Yeah,
you
yeah.
talk for a while and sometimes it's just a little nod. But it's like it's nice.
Yeah.
And then I flew home. And then Wednesday, I got the sickest I've ever been.
Oh, no.
And I stayed that way for like 10 days.
Oh, God.
Really?
Yeah, I had just depleted my body so completely. And then I got on a plane. And it wasn't COVID, but I just got so sick.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I like it was a lesson that like I am not young anymore.
Yeah.
And I have to like, I do want to do another one, but I have to follow the training.
5 is
Can I ask
the
crazy.
letter.
Can I
5
ask a
might be
question?
it.
What is the spacing between each one? Like, is
Couple
there a
years?
lot of
Couple
time?
years.
Got it.
Last time was 2018.
Now, are you a runner and have been always, and
On
you
and
enjoy
off.
this?
Yeah, on and off. But I started it just to do it.
Yeah.
Like I guess my first one was 2008. I'd been here for I've been here for like 5 years. Been in LA for 5 years. Lived in New York for a long time, and lived like an animal.
Yeah.
Lived like a fucking.
So did he.
Oh, I know that word. I'm still in that world.
Sure.
you
Yeah.
gotta
I mean,
put me in a
I'm
cage.
half
You
in
have
that
to.
world. But
Despite all his
yeah,
rage.
but to be young in New York City.
Oh, yeah.
Is like you live like a maniac.
Don't you wish you could go back and like actually have money this time?
Yes.
And be like, what is New York like?
Yes.
But not like now. You might be like, well, I've got a little money now. Go to New York. It's like, no.
No.
When you have the energy,
Yes.
what would money be? What would it be like to have money in New York when you actually are like 20?
Yeah, and to have like New York money.
Yes.
Because
yeah.
I definitely have more money than I did in my 20s, but it's still
Yes.
like it's gone
Yeah.
after I'm there for 5 days. I'm going next week for 48 hours and I expect to lose. all of my
Exactly.
money.
Yeah.
It just goes away.
It's like Vegas without the games.
Kind of.
Or the or the remote chance of winning any of it back.
Yeah.
Right. It's good and it's fun, but that like I'm there for 4 days and then I get on a plane and I have no moisture in my body and I have no money in my bank account.
Yes.
It's a disaster.
We always
Well,
do
for
this
our listeners,
formally.
just
That's what I'm
to
saying.
jump in.
That's
Yeah, you
exactly
guys
what
about
I'm
to say we should introduce our
Yes.
guest here.
You are listening to the dulcet tones of our friend. I still love that we've become friends.
I don't like it. I've always
although-
wanted you guys to stay apart.
Yeah.
No.
Wanted
To be
division.
tense.
No. My friend, but also comedian, writer,
Yeah.
raconteur,
Okay.
carved out niche in the pop culture history of your life.
Okay.
Come on.
I don't.
Yes. I sat on my living room floor and
Okay.
watched you get second place.
Okay, well that's weird.
You
No.
Okay,
Good.
You
That's
know,
nice.
I'm saying you live in a beautiful place.
Okay.
You're also timeless.
it.
Can I just
I'll take
say,
it.
every time I hear raconteur, I always picture a raccoon that like started their own business. And it's very animated.
Yeah.
They wear a suit.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's
Yes.
really fun.
They got
I love
funding.
that.
But no matter what, I only
Yeah. A well-dressed
Yeah.
raccoon.
very well spoken,
Yeah.
just
Yes.
proper,
Still
has
eats
tea in the
trash.
afternoon.
Yes.
Trash all day.
Yeah.
Dave Holmes.
Hi.
Trash all day.
Trash all day.
Trash all day. So I love you, and I
you
think
too,
you're great.
buddy.
Everything that I've ever seen you produce, put out, create, I'm always a fan of.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Can I ask one quick question back to the marathon thing? You've just finished the marathon, and I
Yeah.
saw a video of this, and I don't know enough about the human body, but I watched the guy. This one guy finished this very intense physical thing.
Yeah.
And he's stacking up donuts, probably 8, smashes them to where they're a sandwich, and then eats it. And he's like, it's the most exciting thing to replenish.
It does feel good.
Like, what is that you need the sugars in your body? You need what is that?
You need everything.
Okay.
The weirdest thing, the first time I did it, the most surprising thing was that at around mile 20, you start to I was like, I want a hot dog.
Oh,
really?
Okay.
Pretzel or something. You've sweat out so much salt that your body starts to really
Crave
intensely
salt.
crave
And
salt.
you hear about this on like the show Alone, or even like Naked and Afraid or something, where people get put out and then they reach a point in hunger or depletion where it is so specific, the food that they are like craving.
Yeah, there's a specific. There's like a nutrient that they have lost, and the body is like calling for.
Isn't that remarkable?
And they start handing out like restaurant salt packets at the med stations.
Oh, there you go.
mile 18,
Really?
Yeah. And so
Well, they got to get rid of them. They're like, just give them to the runners.
Yeah, it's just, all the restaurants are just like it's surplus. So I also I'm type 1 diabetic, so I have this thing stuck into my skin that like monitors my blood sugar level. right?
Okay.
So and exercise makes it drop, and food makes it rise, and whatever. And so you're constantly like doing this, and insulin makes it drop. So I sweated that thing off at mile 7.
Oh, God.
And I didn't have any backup.
Did you know that you did? Is it a noticeable thing when that pops out?
I definitely felt it bouncing around in my sleeve. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck. And so, but I was like, I'm here. I'm doing this. I'm not gonna stop.
And that hadn't happened before.
It happens a lot, yeah. Okay. And I should have had like some sort of a backup, but I didn't.
Sure.
So I had to stop at like every second or third med tent and get like a finger prick and have them like test it for me and whatever. And so I got to know like a lot of volunteers. And
Oh, that's cool.
And at the finish line, I stopped at like the huge MASH hospital thing that they have at the finish line.
Yeah.
Just to check. And it was like in range the whole time. I was very proud of that.
That's great. That's amazing.
But you have to also constantly like be eating.
Yeah.
Something. So it's like these gels or chews or whatever.
Can you?
So
Do you get so dehydrated by the end that the prick is it always?
no, it comes out. And I'm also like drinking water.
It's like
you're
crazy,
saying
it's like
tons of
ketchup
Gatorade
at
and
that
whatever.
point.
Yeah.
It's more of an ooze.
They're like a packet. They have to like do the finger.
A syrup.
Yeah, it's a syrup. Leaving the finger.
What? I feel like you shouldn't have to count when you had to stop to get a prick. But what was your time?
My time was not great. It was like 5:30 or something.
What's
I was
your
hoping for under 5.
What's your best of the 4? Do you remember?
I think just over 5. Like I'm
That's
not fast.
amazing.
I've never done
That's
it to like get a
amazing.
good time.
That's
I've always
the
just done it to
fact that
finish.
you
I
even
would like
sign
to
up.
really push and try to get like a decent time for my last one and then hang it up.
Decent always moves by the amount of effort you've put into accomplishing something.
Just
So I'm
signing
saying,
up
like,
for it and
us-
doing it is
to
really-
us,
No,
like
no,
what
no.
you're saying is awesome.
Thanks. It honestly, it's a really good feeling, and then intense, really terrible feelings that
Yeah.
kind of come and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But New York is great because there's like always people cheering. You're never not hearing
the energy.
tons of people and bands and DJs, and it's I don't know, it's cool. It's just very it's fun. One more, that's it.
Okay. Let's take a quick break.
Yeah.
We'll come back.
We'll be right
We'll go to
back.
letters.
Let's go to the letters.
Maybe someday we'll do, and we're back. Let's go to the letters.
No.
Because the other one is, and we're back.
you wanna
Plugs and
try
hugs.
that?
We can't ever.
Do you wanna
we'll
try
never
it?
get to there.
We can
Doesn't
do
wanna.
it.
Look, this is what it's like.
Well, let's do it after the plugs and
because we
hugs.
got plugs and hugs.
Yeah, we'll do plugs and hugs. Let's go. Okay, all right, we'll do it now.
And we're back. Let's go to the letters.
That felt good to me.
It
It
did
is.
feel
It's,
good.
it's sort of an
I'm
up and a
new.
down, right?
It is.
New, but it felt good.
Is this me? First letter.
Do we all?
I'll do it.
Okay. And then you
You
can
have
we all
one-
you have
palm
one
out?
with
Yeah,
you.
one.
Okay. Oh, I thought
Just
they
if
were
you
all
want to
different
follow
letters.
along.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Daniel and Murray.
Wrong.
This will be a bit of a morbid topic, but I know y'all don't shy away from the tough topics, so I'm deciding to write it in anyways. Not a word. My grandma passed away this year, which now leaves my parents, specifically my dad, as the oldest, most likely person to pass away in my life. He's 67 and has already outlived his brother and father's ages of death. They both died of heart attacks in the early 60s, so yeah, his genes suck. He has already had a minor stroke and a separate episode where his heart stopped beating for 12 seconds while he was in the shower, and I rushed into the bathroom and picked up his lifeless body, and firemen carried him to my parents' bed, and he miraculously was fine. I think about him dying often, much more often than I'd like to. He's one of my best friends, an all-around awesome guy. We have always been close and are just alike. We share a love of music, and I often call him just to tell him about a song or album I just listened to, and without fail, he will call me back within 48 hours to tell me what he thought about it. He's also been very supportive of me doing stand-up, and whenever I post sets on YouTube, he always watches and calls me to tell me how great he thinks it was. You get the picture. He's a kick-ass dad and one of the few people I cannot imagine life without. I know dying is part of life, and all things must pass, yada, 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 but I just think that will be really hard. If he died tomorrow, I would have no regrets about our relationship, but it's just weird to think he'll eventually be gone. Do y'all have any tips for dealing with sad eventualities, and how has losing loved ones impacted y'all's outlook on life itself? Thank you for everything. Coble, pronounced like noble. P.S. Shout out Greenville, South Carolina. I started performing there and still go there once a week to perform, even though I moved to Columbia, the country. I've said that. I look forward to seeing Rory there in January. Ding, bling, 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 bling.
Wow.
Let's just talk about the South Carolina comedy scene and wrap this up.
Yeah, so I'll be there January 26th at the Gunner Theater.
Couple favorite restaurants in Greenville?
You know what? It's Greenville
Bojangles.
has Bojangles, if we're talking fast food.
Have you ever had
That's
Bojangles?
my absolute favorite.
I don't know that
Fast
I have.
food
I don't think I
chicken
have.
restaurant. in
Cajun
the
filet
South?
chicken biscuit.
I don't think I
biscuit.
have.
Oh,
Yes.
biscuits, chicken and biscuits. It's so good. Highly recommend.
Okay.
But,
Kickback Jacks?
What's that?
Kickback Jacks?
Oh, I don't know.
Or is
What
that
is
like
that?
a one? Is that a
What is it?
standalone?
That might be a standalone.
Okay.
I don't know that.
Ben, my partner's from North Carolina.
Yeah.
And there's a place there.
Oh,
called
and
Kickback
whereabouts in
Jacks.
North
It
Carolina?
feels, Greensboro.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I want to go to a place called Kickback Jacks.
Doesn't it
It
sound
does
fun?
sound
Is
like
it order at the counter or a sit down?
You know, I've never been there, so I don't know.
It's you don't even order at all. You literally sit in a chair.
You just
it's
kick
not
back.
even a restaurant.
Yeah.
It's just a space.
And play jacks.
Yeah. It's like the place with the massage chairs at the airport.
It's a WeWork,
I'm
but it's
always
WeRelax.
wondering who.
Person on a delay, I guess.
Big delay.
Wait, who gets a
Yeah.
massage at the airport?
Yes.
I have to say, my tour manager, Grant, tells me every time he can do it and has 30 minutes, he does it, and he goes, Rory, start doing it. And I was like, why have I never not just seen? Why have I not done it one time just to be like, oh, fuck, that actually was, like, great. I don't know why I've never done it.
I haven't either. Not at the airport, but the only massage that I can get is a chair massage at the mall.
Oh, so you could do this.
I could totally do that.
Oh, my God.
Wait,
don't-
why the only?
Because I don't like when it's like
Boners? You get a boner?
serene-
You get a boner.
No, I don't get a
Oh,
boner.
okay. Me
Yeah,
neither.
maybe I
I
do
never
get a
have.
boner,
And
but
I
that's
never
not-
have.
We don't, and we don't talk about that extensively.
Okay, but it's like when it's a spa and it's quiet and it's an hour and it's the full thing and there's a water feature and pan flute
Yeah.
and
Pan
whatever.
flute.
All I can think about is how much money I'm wasting and what I could be doing with the time.
Yeah.
But
I'm not
it's an
like
investment
that
in you.
I know, I'm not like that with any other thing, but it somehow feels so indulgent.
But it creates anxiety, which is the opposite point of the
That's
whole fucking
true.
thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, so if it
and
does
yeah,
that-
and like the forced serenity makes me more tense.
So-
but the ambient noise of a mall, I love. Like little snippets
Yeah.
of conversation that actually does
Yeah, yeah,
relax me.
yeah,
It makes
yeah.
me feel good. And like the only parts of me that really need to get like a deep tissue situation or like the this, the
So
shoulders,
you would do
whatever,
an airport
carry-
little. I'm not talking
I
about.
would.
We were talking about like we initially
The
were talking
full-
about.
No, the
sitting in a
full on
chair.
head through the
Okay,
whole,
yeah,
like,
I would
leaning
do that
forward
there.
thing.
Yeah, I would do that there.
I never considered it because I was always like, who the fuck?
Yeah.
But once he said that, I was like, I've had some 2 and 3 hour layovers.
And
I
Grant
could
travels
easily
so
pop
much
in.
too that you feel like he knows. What, I mean, he's tour manager.
But
so
imagine
feel
you
like-
try it one time and you go, fuck, that was great. Then now you're just building that into layovers when you have the time. You're like, yeah, pop in and do it because you know the benefit now.
I have a-
assuming the
I have a
quality is
rule,
always the same.
Any time under an hour from boarding, I don't sit. I never understand this. People are like, I'm going to sit down here, and then I'm going to get up for about 5 minutes, and I'm going to sit down
back
for
down for
another
5
4
hours.
hours.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, well, I want my body to be in a state of maximum sitting down is going to feel so fucking
Yeah, you
good.
jog.
Yeah.
You jog. You actually set your stuff
Back
down
and
and
forth,
kind of do
dude.
some
I'll go
gassers.
Terminal 1, Terminal 2, outside.
Compare Hudson Mooses.
And I'm yelling at these hotel shuttles. I got a lane 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, layover, I go back through security. Just to, what's it like here? What's security like in Dallas? You know, relive it. I had something that consider I don't know if you ever done a sensory deprivation tank before.
I have.
Much cheaper. You're obviously not getting a massage, but you do get to leave with that butteriness of relaxation.
Yes.
And you get to go, oh,
So you
not a
enjoyed
crazy
that?
price.
I did enjoy that, yeah, because it was sort of more. So there's a place near here that does a pause on Sycamore.
Yeah.
And I got a package, and I have one left.
Yeah.
And it is definitely like the most indulgent thing, but it feels good. I come out of that feeling like
Yeah.
mentally
It's also cheaper.
good.
And there's no
cheaper,
tip.
yeah.
You don't have to tip somebody.
Tip anybody.
It's tipping culture.
Let me say this though. The last time I was at that pause studio and did the sensory deprivation tank, I went back out because like you leave your shoes out in the main hallway.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was out and I got out of the tank and I put my clothes on and went out, put my shoes on, and someone who worked there was like, "So how was it?" And I said, "Oh, that was really great." And she said, "I love that for you." And I said, "Ugh," like that. Before I had a chance to pull it back.
Mute it.
It came out. Like I hate that expression with all of my being.
I love that.
And especially like when it's said kind of sincerely, I just couldn't.
It's even
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
Because
So I made a
even when
retching
it's said,
noise at her.
because even when it's said sincerely, it still sounds condescending.
It's so condescending.
So condescending.
It's so condescending.
Even when she's like, "No, I really meant it," you go, "There's no way around it."
Yeah, no,
just the
it's-
words
matter.
"I love that for you"
Yeah.
makes it seem like you're on a pedestal.
Yes.
And I needed. You're like,
It's like telling someone. It's even.
"Oh,
if
the
you
good man needed to
Yeah.
feel good today."
It's like when you sincerely say you'll understand when you get older.
Yes.
It's still condescending as fuck,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
though it's very true.
I'll tell you what's a curveball. Say it to someone who you both know is older than you.
Oh.
And then they go,
Let's
"Wait,
keep them
what?"
guessing.
You're like, when
Yeah.
you're older, you'll know.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you even? How do you know that?
I'm just ahead of you in character.
And then when they go, "How do you know?" You go, "I don't," but you will know when you're older.
You'll know when you're. Say it
I'll-
to
and
someone
I'll
in their
know when I-
60s with a history of heart disease in the
Yes,
family.
say it.
Maybe.
Oh,
and
way to
say
break-
it.
way
And
to-
now we're back.
How about
Me
that?
too.
And we're back.
Because I
in.
figured they probably wrote this and were like, they'll probably talk about massages for a while.
Here, I'll write this sad thing,
Just,
and then they'll talk about what temperature should a steak be cooked.
You know what? Something? Can I, Rory? I feel like we tap in this. I'd love to hear what you think.
Yeah.
Of course.
Uh-huh.
But I think you and I have, because of early loss, have a dealing with sad eventualities means make sure you're having a good fucking time now.
I think so. I think there's a. I think
Like
you
relish
and I maybe somewhat come into. I don't know so much for you, but my sadness was one that I was sort of born into. So it was sort of a reality, and I'm
Bane.
like
Like
Bane.
Bane.
I was gonna say I'm like Bane in that way.
Could you summarize it?
My
in a way
mother
that
passed
won't-
away when I was very young, my first birthday.
Yeah.
So I have it's not a part of my reality. The only thing that's a part of my reality is the loss,
The
but not like
aftermath, yeah.
who is it? And so but with that comes this other version of confusion of learning about someone through other people and living with this like what if. And I have often hypothesized like, and there's no right or wrong answer to it, but it's like, well, what loss? Like if someone said you can either never know them and you didn't have them, or know them and then lose them, and you'd almost be like, I couldn't tell you what, you know what I mean, on the
Yeah.
scales of loss. But I would say because I was born into it, the one I do obviously relate to is my father passing away not that long ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know what recent deaths any of us have experienced. We all have, but
Yeah.
it does change your perception, especially that particular loss. Like for instance, if you lost your grandfather now, you would have a different feeling about how shocking.
There'd be ways in which
That
it would hurt
is.
so much more, but then there would
Yes.
be other ways in which my perspective on it would be so much better.
Yes.
At 6.5, it was just wipe.
Yes.
And without any perspective.
Yes.
Yeah.
And total loss.
And
without
it was
full
sudden?
understanding. To me.
Yes.
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
But
he
also,
had
like-
a couple heart attacks.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I didn't know.
But
you
in
know.
this way where I think in that particular loss of like parents, it does feel like this protective shield has just been removed, that you now feel exposed to the world. And I don't know if that's, and again, I can't speak to the mother part of that because maybe it feels the same. But
I would say with
my
good,
dad,
with good parents. you
yeah,
feel
like even
exposed
my
to the
dad,
world.
who's not protecting me now or financially, there was never that. I was an adult and had moved on.
Right.
But it still feels like right now, the insanity that the world is in, I keep telling myself, if I could just talk to my dad,
Same.
that maybe he would have some perspective that would shift mine to go, okay, so maybe I'll look at it this way and find optimism in some way.
you know what
I couldn't guarantee that actually would happen, but it does. I often think, my dad doesn't know the insanity someone who loved politics, doesn't know the insanity of January 6th. He doesn't know the insanity of where we are now. He doesn't know the insanity of the way we thought things worked. He doesn't know that the cracks in that concrete are now massive to the point of destruction. And he's unaware.
Yeah.
And it is weird for me because I want to go, God, I'd love to know, as someone who studied political science and was obsessed with politics, what would he say about this? Would he reference something historically that made me go, oh, okay, so we're in a cycle. Oh, okay, this happens. Oh, okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can I ask you,
But
having a good parent, does this analogy ring true or make any sense? You have both your parents still, right?
No, my dad passed a few years ago.
That's right. Okay, your dad did pass.
Yeah.
When you have the loss of a good parent, does it feel almost like I picture like you're climbing a tree, and that good parent was above you climbing the same tree, and then when they pass away, your tendency to look up and see where they've gone is now just canopy. Now just like sunlight. And so you don't have this like shadow to either be under or branches to see that they used. And you just, like you had said, the kind of like being exposed made me think of that. And you sort of look up and go, okay, I guess I'm just going the rest of this way up without that sort of overwatch that I had in a good parent.
Yeah. I don't know that I felt that way. I was very close with my dad, but our lives, like as soon as my adult life started, it became so different from my parents that it was sort of, aside from just sort of like how to be a good person or whatever, I couldn't really look to them as role models.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that I didn't feel, but I do feel very strongly, like I still have that instinct to like check in and see what my dad thinks about something. When something happens, or I wonder. So that kind of never goes away.
And you almost, it's like almost, it doesn't go away to the point where you're still convinced you could do it.
Yeah.
You could be like, I'll just check it. Oh, that's right, I can't.
Yeah.
So,
do
you guys feel like there are certain ways you deal with sad eventualities? Because I think, and I've brought this up so much, Rory had me over for a cookout at his house and pool day, right, hanging out, and I've also gotten to do it at your place. But the fact that, to me, that you made spiral mac and cheese is a little bit of that, like, I don't really need to, but if I did, wouldn't it just be a little bit more? Hey, today,
you said you wouldn't come if we didn't do it.
I said I probably wouldn't come.
Oh, well, that's why we did it.
Oh, well, fair enough.
I think we threw it away after you left.
I think the taking of moments and consciously trying to milk them for as much as you can without making it become more than what the event or the time is a little bit of, I don't know if that's a trauma thing or a smart thing or a healthy thing, of consciously knowing that there is something sad in all of our lives and the eventuality that in the moment, if I do go and make this one little thing that I know they love, or we do add that little thing into the party or whatever, it's just going to make it that much richer in that memory or in that time.
Yeah.
Is that like, I feel like I do that, I guess is a short way of saying it as well too. Like,
well, you live a life of knowing that the party ends.
Right.
And it just does. And there's a lot of people that, good or bad, they don't know yet that the party does end. And sometimes that affects their behavior to be somewhat obnoxious to a lot of people. But then there's other people but then there's a lot of us who maybe know that that's obnoxious, but also sort of secretly are jealous of the fact that, you still get to live in that space of unaware that the party ends. And I do hope that maybe you find out that the party does end well into an age where maybe your party is going to actually end soon enough. I don't know what metaphor I'm using here.
But I get it.
A couple of them.
But I will say this, in just trying to give advice that Coble did not ask for, a lot of people do wonder, like, the feeling of what will happen when someone passes on. I won't have any regrets. I'll feel this way or feel that way. It is interesting because you really cannot know the weight of loss until you experience it. And I mean that even, and you might have experienced this, when people would console me about the death of my father, I could instantly know who had lost their father and who hadn't. And not in a negative way, but because you can tell the people who haven't lost their father have this more
like have this more sort of, it's bad today, but like like I'm so sorry about. You can just tell they're very, very polite.
Of course, yeah.
But someone else is a little bit darker about their condolences in this way of trying to convey it will not change. This will not get better. This is just what it is. And they tell you that, and it's brutal honesty that you need to hear, because if you start convincing yourself that one day you're going to wake up and you'll be past the grief, you won't ever get past the grief, and you'll become a lunatic wondering why you have yet to get past the grief because you think that's what other people do, when that isn't what actually happens. You learn to just live with it and move on, and you just go, oh,
That's true for you
this
too,
is the
Dave?
reality of life.
100%.
Yeah.
The people who haven't experienced it tell you that they don't have the words.
Yes.
The people who have experienced it just know that they don't have the words and put a hand on your shoulder
Yes.
or whatever, or just check in with you, or, like they know a little bit better what to do.
Yeah.
Rather than think they have to say something
Yes.
or like convey a message or whatever. It's not. It's just kind of like, all right, welcome. Welcome.
Yeah, you do. It does feel like an initiation of like, your hand has been shaken.
Yes.
And they go, and now you're going to be sitting at our table for the rest of time.
Right. Right.
And you were like,
Welcome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
And you sort of realize the different losses in your life move you to different tables. Like, oh no, that's the table that's lost both their parents. That's the table that, unfortunately lost a child. Like, know, like right now, someone loses a child, a friend of mine, they would know right away, you have no idea how dark this is. And I would be like, and I hope to God I never know. And that's why I don't even know how to approach pulling you up, because even the effort of doing it might set somebody off, if that makes sense.
This is not a minimalization to me. I hope it's not to you guys either. I just want to be clear. I'm not joking around. I feel like that's also true of people who have maybe truly never connected with or lost a pet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't know that it can be so much different than the loss of a person.
Yes.
Because by nature, we aggravate each other. We let each other down. We have times in our life that we weren't there for each other, or we should have been better. We weren't the more evolved person that we hopefully will be. Or sometimes we burden each other, especially in families and stuff like that, And I think sometimes in loss, there can be some level of relief or some level of, I will always miss that person, but they always did this thing that kind of really bothered, whatever. And a lot of times, at least in my experience, when it's a pet, it's just full stop, love gone.
Yeah.
That's all you lost. Yeah. There's no benefit.
Yeah.
There's no sort of, hey, well, they did make me have to do this every month or what.
Yeah.
No, it's just full stop, love gone.
Yes.
And it is devastating.
Love from the most like innocent, primal place.
Bond.
Yeah,
it's
absolute
just
unconditional.
Pure, it's just pure love.
Yeah.
And and that is severed, and it's unbelievably devastating.
Yeah. It's interesting that after my father passed away, I didn't realize how unsupportive I was towards other people who had lost their parent, which I even
But you
said
just didn't
that.
know, yeah.
You didn't know. And I said that to people. I went back and I was like, I realized I was not as available as I maybe should have been, because I don't think I could fully comprehend the weight of this. And to your point, now that I, for the first time in my life, do have a pet, without this pet dying, I already now know I definitely was not emotionally available to friends who needed it when their pet died, because I could not comprehend someone whose mother died at a young age. I couldn't comprehend the weight of a pet until now, and I fully get it. And I think the only thing about specifically dogs is that when you lose a dog, and it is so wildly emotional, there is this love that dogs have that and I mean this respectfully, but I think that's why people immediately jump to another dog, because that dog also has that love, and you can go, okay, I'm getting the love back, and actually this dog is making me it's helpful in my mourning of the other dog. And I know that sounds like shallow and weird.
No.
I think it actually just speaks to how amazing specifically dogs
And
are.
I know
Absolutely.
firsthand your
Yeah.
connection with your dog. Your dog, both of your dogs are such little characters of the family, like full on
Yes.
role models, members. I mean, characters of the family. That it would be devastating. It would it
Yes.
it would be on par and in some ways exceed the loss of a person.
Yes.
It is intense grief, and like very personal, and also it feels sort of indulgent sometimes because it is,
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so
a
much.
dog. Yeah,
It's so much.
But yeah, no, it's and the replace.
I've had it with cats. Just so everyone knows, I've also had this with cats.
This is dogs. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, we got another dog after we, like 2 months after we lost our last one, and we were gonna wait and like do some traveling and all that kind of thing. But just we wanted another dog, but also the presence of a dog in the house.
Yes. They're angels.
They are angels, but also like when they're not there, it's like there's an alarm beeping.
Yeah.
Something's missing in the house. You know what I mean? Like there's a knock on the door and nothing happens, and it's like, no, we can't.
Not even
This is
that.
not right.
Not even the
Can't
knock
do
on the door.
that.
It's the you walking in the door
And the dog immediately
and
loving you.
nothing happens.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Because we get a Pavlovian response to what happens after my keys go in the door. We get a Pavlovian response to what I'm about to experience, thinking about what I'm going to experience the moment I get out of my car.
Yeah.
And then you have to go, no.
yeah.
And it's like, because what other routine do you have that with a person that is just
no.
clockwork
Yeah.
love, clockwork love? It's
Yeah.
I do have
crazy.
2 more things to add. Role
I have a
models is
couple
not
things.
the wrong description. Role models
Sure.
is actually great because when you see a dog, you go, why can't I fucking follow this dog's lead and quit worrying about the stupid shit and just be present and love my like family and be here? But instead, I have to go, what do I want and what do I want to do? And then you find yourself in that parental regret of like, oh, my kid wanted to play this game, but I was like, I kind of need to do this other thing. I need to book a hotel
You know
for
who
a
would have
gig. And you
played
didn't
that
need
game?
to.
Charlie. Charlie would have
Exactly.
always played that fucking game.
Exactly. Your dog is always like, why don't we just hang out with each other and let that be our lives, as opposed to needing to succeed in certain things that don't matter.
My dog at the beginning of every day is just like, let's go. Cool. Like I
Exactly.
get out of the bed and he's like, all right. Like the tail is wagging. He's like,
Yes.
let's go have a day. He's
The
just so
ultimate yes
excited.
and.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Go.
To Coble.
Yep.
I would say fixating on death at all times is probably not healthy, even though, it is coming, perhaps.
Yeah. There's
soon,
an awareness
perhaps
versus a concentration.
yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe like a reframing is when you do connect with your father, or you are with your father, like putting life into that interaction.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like really making it count, because there is death, but then there is also like there's sickness and there's age and there's people's brains change and it we talk and think a lot about like the last time we had a conversation with someone important who died.
Yes.
There is also like the last good conversation that we had with somebody who then lived for a while and then died.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, they like check out. We like when 2 years before my father died, he fell and it looked grim. It looked like it was the end. And there was a couple weeks where it was, he was just really not in there, and it was like, oh, this is it. Right. And he bounced back, and we had another like really good year. And during that year, I tried to be conscious of like, this will end. So let's, let's make something of this conversation. Let's, the last conversation I had with him was election night 2016.
Really?
The last,
Fun.
last like
Already
long
so
conversation, super fun. And then I saw him once after and we talked, but it wasn't like the last like long conversation was election night. And I really fucking hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
but
my other thing to kind of piggyback on yours, that I try to tell people, if there's anything that I have learned specifically from my father's death, and when people say, like, even when you're like, oh, I have a good relationship and it's going to be weird when they're gone, all these things, if you'd like to give yourself a gift, I think a benefit is to acknowledge with them that they are going to pass. Yeah. You pick any age, it doesn't matter, it's going to happen. And say, when that does happen, what do you think I should do? How do you think I'm going to be able to recover from losing you. One, that says I love you in the most profound way, and you don't even say the words I love you. You say, I will be devastated. I need you in your final lesson to explain to me, what do I do? And then when they do pass, if they have answered this question in whatever way they have, you now have a direct communication of, oh, well, they said, whenever you go to that one diner we always went to, I always loved it when you would order the blah, blah, blah. You do that the rest of your life when you're at that diner, or you go to that diner, or you do that thing, you will go, oh, this is what they said. And I think you will unknowingly be giving yourself this little shot of feeling better, this little shot of, oh, they're here. They're here right now because I know that they said they liked that I did this, and here I am extending that action. And that's just obviously like one example, but it could be anything. It really could be anything because you're
to me, that's where those people always continue to live.
Yes,
right. They live in those songs or those places or those things that you did together. They still, like, if you hear them and you feel them, they still live.
Yeah.
I mean, you know me. My whole thing is that energy can't be deleted. Energy is energy. Mm-hmm. So whatever is after that, it's not. We call it death, but they go on to something. I don't believe in pure void because, like I said, energy has to go somewhere, and so their energy goes somewhere else, and maybe your energy will find them. I love Rory does the thing. He's like, what if reincarnation is you guys were best friends in World War I, and then you were grandma and cousin in the next.
I made that up too. I didn't hear that.
But like just energy.
That's my own. Concoction.
And then
other religions.
That is your So my mom is now 91, and she just fell a couple months ago, and it was a similar kind of thing. She was, she was in bad shape for like, a couple months, and is getting better. But so, in the immediate aftermath of her having fallen, she was in like the rehab center of she's in like an independent senior living place. It's like, got a pub and it's cool. But she was in like the rehab wing of it that was like older people who were in kind of rough shape. Right? And when I was there just after, there was bingo. This is what happened.
I love this already.
There was bingo. And so there were maybe like 8 to 12 older people, a lot of them in wheelchairs, a lot of them kind of checked out. Frequently, someone's phone starts ringing and they don't know that it's theirs.
Or even how to answer.
Or whatever. So as bingo is about to begin, the guy who is calling bingo, I'm just gonna find.
It's always bingo.
The guy who the bingo caller, the activities guy,
the bingest.
The bing guy?
The bing guy.
The bing guy. We live for voice memos?
Wait, I feel like you should know this, Daniel. What is a bingo caller called?
That's
okay. And it's not fun at all.
Don't you think?
God damn.
It should be something.
Okay.
Bingo caller.
We'll fix this in post.
Why?
No. We leave everything
in. I
in.
don't care. What do you look for, voice memos?
I shit myself on the last episode. We left it in.
Nice.
I didn't tell anybody.
Okay, so the bingo man, the activities guy, says, before we start bingo, you should know that Mary in 204 is going to die. She is in hospice care now.
They did not ask him to make this announcement.
No. Yeah, he was just
he was winging it.
Her children are saying their goodbyes now. She has not regained consciousness. We don't expect her to regain consciousness, but they do say that the people in a coma can understand you and hear you when you're talking to them. So her children are there now. She could die today. It could be in 2 weeks. But Mary in 204 is going to die. So if you'd like to say goodbye to Mary in 204, it didn't stop. And it was this ring. And I was like, somebody else in here has to understand how fucking funny
this is. So funny.
And like my mom was kind of not there enough mentally yet to get it. But I was like, this is the
and you know someone was hearing all that and like, what? G4?
Is that me?
What is it?
Yeah. Oh my God, I'll never forget it. Anyway.
Coble, we appreciate you sent this in. If anybody needed a good cry after this, I would recommend Keep Me in Your Heart for a while, Warren Zevon.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Also, December 22nd, the movie All of Us Strangers opens.
Okay. Oh.
You will be devastated by it.
Did you see Past Lives?
Not yet.
Okay, that's all I'm saying.
That's
No,
all we
yeah.
ever
But
talk
wait,
about.
what did
All
you
of
say
Us
it was?
Strangers.
All of Us Strangers?
Yeah, it comes out on the 22nd. It,
Okay.
it is beautiful, and
100% seeing that.
Can't
Rips
put
you
myself
up.
through it again. Yeah.
Rips you up.
Okay.
Yeah, a beautiful movie. I don't ever wanna
Coble,
see again.
thanks for sending this in. Good luck
Thank you,
out there
Coble.
in South Carolina. Keep hitting those sets. Do your best.
Yeah.
We wish you well.
Should we sing that Coble song?
Yep.
We wish you well. Sincerely, your pen pals, Daniel Van Kirk.
Rory Van Scovel and
Thank you so much for writing Coble. It's weird. I just thought you guys were going to start. Anyway, Dave Holmes.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Plugs and hugs, real quick. Hey, wait, when did you say it comes out?
January
The
17th.
17th.
Oh
17th.
shit, dude! We're about to be in San Francisco for
This
a live
Sunday.
Pen Pals this Sunday. San Francisco Sketchfest.com.
Sketchfest?
Yeah.
SFsketchfest.com for tickets. DanielVanKirk.com for tickets. RoryScovel.com for tickets. Go to our Instagram. Do
What a
the
great-
link in the bio.
Linking
The thing that
blocks.
everybody does now. If they have a product, that's where you put the link. You put it in the bio. It doesn't make any sense, but that's where it goes. Yeah, go there, buy tickets, come to see the live Pen Pals, where we will have a guest and we'll be reading 2 letters, much like this. Go to RoryScovel.com for all dates. About to be in Charleston, South Carolina. About to be in Greenville, South Carolina. Coble, you'll be there. Traverse City, Michigan. Australia. Watch Physical. The end.
Great. Wow. DanielVanKirk.com. My movie Wine Club is out right now. I hope you go check it out. Tonight is
I've been seeing the promos. I'm sorry. I saw the trailer. It
You
looks
did?
great.
Thanks, buddy.
It looks filthy in like content filthy,
Yeah.
and also like I imagine a vigorous shower at the end of each shoot day for you. It looks like
a bit.
physically.
Yeah. It was great. It
Filthy.
was so much fun. So Wine Club, there's a screening tonight. If you're interested in being like, what if I wanted to go to that? You should go to @WineClub on Instagram, click the link, and figure it out through there. Otherwise, Cedar Rapids, Des Moines, DC, Green Lake, Wisconsin, Fort Collins, Colorado, all places I'm coming, plus a whole bunch more. Go to DanielVanKirk.com.
Right. Oh.
Your turn.
At Dave Holmes on not so much Twitter anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
But Instagram certainly. No.
I know.
Okay.
That'll
I love that
never be right.
I love that it got changed to a
It'll never
name
be
of
right.
something you refer to as you're not involved with anymore.
Yeah.
Like my ex job, my
Yeah.
ex friend, my
Yeah.
my ex social app.
But yeah, I'm on Esquire.com frequently. I'm editor
So
at
many
large for the-
articles. I
lot of
literally was
stuff.
just now in my head trying to think of like what to recommend.
Yeah. And what did you arrive at? What do you recommend?
Well, the most recent one that you read that I really
Well,
loved.
specifically, what
was it?
what was
no,
it?
not Huey Lewis.
Oh, okay, no, that was a while ago.
I know, but there was another one. I messaged you right afterwards. I was like,
Oh,
"Dude,
Post Malone,
maybe that doesn't feel right." I haven't read it yet. I saved these for airplane rides.
the guy from The Darkness.
Yes,
I talked to the guy from The Darkness recently.
The lead
which was
singer?
fun. Yeah,
Okay.
who's so fascinating.
Interesting.
You just
Really
you're
interesting
right.
guy.
Just all your stuff.
Thanks, man. I
love
appreciate
you.
it.
Okay.
And I
What
have well, I did a 10-episode investigative show a while back called Waiting for Impact that's still there because it's a podcast. It doesn't go anywhere. And then Homophilia with my friend Matt McConkey, where we talk to cool queer people, and Troubled Waters. And then also, I don't know exactly when it's going to come out,
You bring
but
it
I have
back.
an 8-episode show about sort of the arc of MTV as like a pop culture brand.
interesting.
This is what I'm saying. You
that
remember how
is-
much I freaked out when I saw you in the Woodstock docs?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Hey,
Thanks.
next time, you operate in my life as just my friend." And then I forget, right? And then I go watch a Woodstock doc, and
Right.
you'll be like, "Well, here's how fucking crazy it was." And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's right. My friend was working for MTV
Yeah.
at one of the greatest shit shows to close out the 20th
true.
century.
That's
Right.
true. That's very true. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we cover that a little bit, but
Sure,
But,
but it's
also,
still-
I got to talk to people from the very beginning, and
Oh my-
all the way up to
this is
Rob
100%.
Deerdeck of ridiculousness.
Ridiculousness.
Oh,
which
man.
became, it's like
which is
ridiculous TV.
It's all.
It's its
they
own
show.
thing now.
They literally just got picked up for 2,600 more episodes.
Shut up. That is,
No,
it's just a
They'll
machine.
do and there's no.
And they probably
reason
do
for
5
it
a
to
day?
stop. They do 8 a day.
They do 8 a day.
Yeah, I mean, what's to
Yeah,
what's
why?
to do?
Why not?
Yeah, crank it. Like the videos are constantly coming in. The set is there.
Yeah.
Everyone's ready to watch someone break their jaw.
That's right.
That's
That's right. Can I ask you
I
a
can't wait
question?
for that. When does it drop?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
When do all 2,600 episodes drop of the other thing?
Yeah,
Do you like the band Nation of Language?
I do. I
Did
don't
you-
know. I don't know them well, but like the bit that I've heard, I really liked.
They just opened for LCD Sound System. He went and he didn't see them.
I didn't know that there
Oh.
were. It just said the email I got because I'm friends with somebody in the band, right? You are
Brag.
too, right?
Brag.
I've hung out with them more, but they
yeah,
were
but
pen
I'm
pal,
only
and then
calling
we
it a brag
became
because when I
friends.
say it, I am bragging.
The
a
email
good
said
brag.
the email did not say anything. Are you sure it was all shows? Because
All
the email
shows.
said DJ starts at. Are they a DJ?
All shows, they're not a DJ.
Okay, then they did not say anything about that.
And where was the show?
The Wrecking?
Knockdown Center
Knockdown
in Queens.
Center.
You
Sorry,
wanted
Queen.
to say
Oh.
the Knitting Factory. Am I right or wrong? And I'm Johnny Carson holding
You know
the
I
card
love
to his
you.
head.
I was gonna say like knockdown.
Okay, so you almost did have it.
But no, I was gonna say like kick around. I was gonna do it wrong, but I didn't think Knitting Factory.
Okay.
I would tell you.
I don't
Amazing
even know that
space.
venue at all.
It's amazing.
Okay.
I don't know
Big
it either.
warehouse space. It was
Sure.
awesome.
But it works.
I saw LCD Sound System at Brooklyn Steel like 2 years ago.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
When I was on my Esquire holiday party trip
Residency,
and
right?
whatever. It was it was
Yeah.
that residency, and
That's
I saw
sort of
them
what this was.
like Wednesday, and then this was a time when you would still go on Twitter and see what people were talking about, and like every media person that I had seen that week was like, I just tested positive for it was that Omicron wave that hit the entire
yeah.
it was I didn't get it.
This residency was
Right.
like 30 dates or something. It was like crazy. Yeah.
I think, and
It
they're
was
doing
insane.
they're doing something like that this year.
Yeah.
like
The one they're doing
They're
right now at
doing-
this
it's
place
a-
like six.
They're
Four,
calling it a
four.
tri-borough tour, so they're
Right.
doing.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just
Well,
did
if you ever
shows
wanna go
in
again,
Manhattan and they'll
I'll go in a heartbeat.
Great.
I love them. Okay, ready?
Let's go to the second letter.
Take it, Roar.
Okay, dear sweetest pen pals. Between my freshman and sophomore year of college, I drove to Alaska to work on a commercial salmon fishing boat. I was 20 years old, an age I suppose you can do stupid shit like that. There were 4 of us on the boat, a captain who loved whiskey and yelling. Don't you assume that? Is that
course.
assumed?
That's
Quint. All because of
all
Jaws.
there in the
All
word
because of
captain.
Jaws. Quint.
Yeah.
A cook who loved Spam.
Who doesn't?
And 2 deckhands, me and my friend Pat, who loved adventure. God, this is already a novel. Every day for sometimes 16 hours at a time, our job as deckhands was to remove the fish from the nets and throw them into these massive refrigerator containers. We were on that tiny boat for 4 months straight. It was brutal, physically and emotionally. Do you feel like you could be a deckhand on a commercial fishing boat? Would you even want to? Do you feel like fish know something more than they're telling? Your pen pal, known. P.S. How far do you think you could gallop on a horse?
This classic bing, bang, bing.
Real quick.
They'll end with a question that we will then end up ignoring the whole rest of the letter on.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, I hate horse riding. I don't like it. It's hitting your undercarriage.
So
your balls?
your answer is not very long.
You're popping up and down on your balls.
I haven't found that to be true.
Well, then you're not riding the right horses. But when they gallop, you're just like, "What? This is not comfort." You've
Gallop?
seen it, and then when you finally do it, you go, "Oh, these are animals." It now occurs to you, yes, these are animals. They can destroy me. They are sheer muscle, and you're on top of it, controlling it. You sort of can't, even when you're good at it, and you're just galloping. I've had bad horse experiences.
Yeah, I don't.
Daniel,
love it.
you have a statement or a question?
I'm gonna. It's okay to admit you don't know things. It's just not okay to stay that way.
Okay,
Gallop is run.
Yes.
I think that's right.
It feels.
It's
Gallop
a
feels
trot.
like trot.
Yeah.
I think it's a space
It's
in
more
between.
than a walk,
It's
but it's not a full sprint. Yeah.
Yeah.
versus.
No, it's faster than the first thing.
You know what it is?
It's not constant hoofs on the ground. There is a leap.
It's jogging
There's
when
That's
you.
a run then.
It's jogging
It's
when you
le-
kind of
it's
don't want
jogging.
to.
It's jogging.
I'm
It's
gonna-
jogging, but you kind of don't want to run.
It's
I'm
not
going to
a dead
weigh in
heat.
per the internet here. The gallop is the fastest gait of the horse.
Oh,
Even though
wow.
it doesn't sound, I know, I wouldn't
I've
think so
never
either.
known that my whole life. I've
25
misused gallop.
25 to 30 miles an hour is a
No,
gallop.
it's not fun.
Does
It's scary.
that not feel like when I thought prohibited meant a
scary.
good thing? Like words that you're like, gallop feels like
Yeah, it feels.
we'll get
there's
there. Gallop along.
Language.
It feels like a merry-go-round
yeah,
style.
Yeah.
We've got walk, trot, canter,
Canter.
gallop.
So we've been
Gallop.
thinking canter our whole life.
But decanter
And not
is wine,
just a
right?
deli.
Canter is wine.
Not just a deli.
No, I get that.
That was good.
Jokes that most listeners will be, I don't know that.
I don't like to be on a horse. I always am like, this horse would rather be doing anything
Yep.
else
Yes.
right
So
now.
We
Which
went
is
to
true.
we went to hey, look, you're a single parent retreat weekend. And it was all single parents and their kids. I don't know how my mom and her 3 sons ended up at this. And one of the days was horseback riding. And something must have spooked. We're in a very line, right? Just trotting and walking almost. And something must have spooked my horse, stepped out of line. I'm talking, boom, there was supposed to be a bridge. We went down, up, over.
30 miles per hour.
Very fast. And then I didn't get thrown off, sort of slowed
You're
down.
waiting to get
then
thrown
came to a
off.
stop. I was young enough to be like, this is awesome. And then afterwards being like, I think that was kind of scary.
Yeah.
But that was, when you're a kid, there's no way it was a football field. It might have been 100 feet or something like that. But it was
feels
intense.
Like a lot.
Yes.
Feels like a lot. And you got to there is a way that you have to move with the animal to stay stable.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you have to be comfortable.
And
Yeah.
And they
you're
sense
squeezing.
Yes. And they
sense
sense when
it.
you're not.
Yeah.
And when you're not, they don't do anything to make you more. Right? So you're just kind of screwed. I actually just rode a horse, which I actually found out later was a large mule. But in Utah, and we went horseback riding, but it was all mules.
This guy will never know.
Yeah,
Just put
and
him
I
on
didn't.
one.
I
Put him
didn't.
on one.
Sure, city boy. It's
You
a
sure
horse.
this
Yeah.
isn't an ostrich? It's a horse. Get on.
And we're the New Yorkers who work
giant
at
mule.
this ranch.
Yeah.
Keep going.
It was beautiful. We were in this national park that it was like, this is what all of the Wile E. Coyote cartoons
Yes.
are
Yes.
based on.
Yeah,
It was beautiful.
Monument Valley type looking. place.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. But there were certain parts where the horse would run,
Yeah.
and I was not super into it. And then there was a spot where they took your picture and everything, and I got my picture at the end, really only to take it out of circulation, because I was so so clearly terrified in my eyes.
Yeah.
So I had it and I ripped it up. But it was in the moments when I was able to relax, I was like, okay, I kind of see this, but I am not willing to put in the work.
Yeah, I
to
think
get
it'd be
relaxed.
so sore.
Now, also, I'm wondering whether this isn't wordplay, because how far could you gallop on a horse? We're not talking about the horse. It's not how long could you be on a horse while it gallops.
Right.
How long could you personally gallop
while
on top of a horse?
Yeah.
But not very far.
Not very far at all.
Not even at all.
Do you guys think you could be a deckhand on a commercial fishing boat?
I do not
Literally
want
Do
never
you
thought about
romanticize the idea of it?
Not even at all.
No, me
I
neither.
do. I sort of do. You just get out. Hey, what are we doing today? We're pulling in all these. What do you call them? Boxes, cages, whatever it is. Baskets. We're pulling in all these baskets. But I also my favorite job, most rewarding job I ever had, was working on a farm, which is the sea of grain. The sea of grain.
Yeah, but on the sea of grain, you can also decide that it's time to exit.
Yep.
This, you're on it for 4 months.
I
That
know.
is almost.
That would be the thing.
That is
Leaving
1/3
is-
of the year.
Well, I
My
mean,
favorite thing to do.
doesn't-
and the idea that I
Trapped.
wouldn't be able to. Is
And not only,
devastating.
like-
It's what
It was
keeps me off
brutal,
cruises.
physically and emotionally.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking like some nights where you're like, this thing is going crazy. Now, from what I understand, the money in this is crazy. It's like what Deadliest Catch comes from being
you have
like,
no
hey,
expenses.
here's why they're willing to do it.
Well,
because
also,
it becomes,
you're not spending. You have no expenses.
Yes,
True. You're eating spam.
You're in Spain.
you're eating
Getting
spam.
that free spam
With a
and
drunk yelling.
maybe sneaking
captain.
a nip of whiskey.
You've got. I mean, I could not imagine. You would have to grow up in this environment to want to do that.
And the person who did loves whiskey and yelling. Like
Yes.
the people in charge
Right.
are older and have chosen this lifestyle.
Yes.
Yes.
And the isolation that it entails.
Oh yes, they are willing to go
And-
down with the ship.
Exactly.
I
And
will
they
go
don't
down
care about the relationships that they're building with you.
Yeah.
Like it's just they're there because they can't live anywhere else.
maybe
I do want to know what they got paid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Patreon. Write us back.
Known.
Known.
What did you get paid?
But my other thing too.
and
guys,
I know known.
And
known
I guess
and I
this
know
is
each
the
other.
romanticizing of it. We would come off of this 4 months at least slightly a different person,
You'd have to.
but I feel like for the better. Is that more just romanticizing it? I think I would see some of the most beautiful nights and beautiful sunrises and sunsets, and maybe I would see something in the ocean that you would just never thought you would encounter or couldn't explain. Like I think, or I would find that I was tired to the bone, like you in a marathon. But we're getting up tomorrow. We're doing this again, and just that sort of like pushing yourself to that point. Like I said, I'm just romanticizing it, but I would just come off. with a perspective I didn't have before, and a metal that I didn't possess.
Well, what I'm curious about, because I know what you're speaking of, I know what you're talking about, but I have found in my life when I have done anything that is of note that would change you, it does change me, and there's some tiny morsel of it I carry on the rest of my life. But I think I'm just so adaptive to the environments I'm in that when I get off this boat, and I hated it. I hated all 4 months. I cursed it. But within a week, I'm like, yeah, I was on that boat, and now it's in the past that it doesn't feel like 4 months. It doesn't feel like I was there for 4 months, and I'm now just on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And maybe in this particular case, the only morsel I've walked away with is I'll never fucking eat Spam again, and I'll never go on another boat.
And every 2 weeks, you wake up at 3 a.m. punching. Punching and
like,
sweating and crying.
And the level of equilibrium in your ears.
I was wondering that.
Yeah.
Like I remember going a kid, we'd go to like the water park, be in the wave pool, and you'd get home that night, or even detasseling corn. You get home that night and close your eyes, you'd see corn, or you'd still feel like you were in the waves, the ocean. It happens, obviously. But
only someone from Rochelle would say, you know, like you're at the water park and you get out of the wave pool, or like when you're detasseling corn.
Yeah, those are the two main childhood
I just remember it
experiences.
shocked me. It was the first time I closed my eyes, and I could still see fucking corn.
Yeah,
because I'd been looking at it for 8
Of
hours,
course.
nothing else.
Yeah.
But I wonder how long is your body still on the boat? That's probably pretty fast.
Or do you?
I
Yeah,
don't know.
Equilibrium?
I don't know.
you must adapt.
I wonder if you come back and have reverse, like you have land sickness.
Maybe you stay drunk to keep yourself a little.
Sure.
Like almost being on land is jarring the way going into like a overly soundproofed room is. Like that can actually
You're
make
used
you
to
sick.
the ground beneath you never moves, so you're kind of like.
Yeah, you're like,
sorry.
whoa,
You're just kinda
it's
like-
too sterile.
Have you
ground is
done a
too-
cruise? Have either of you been?
I've done a cruise.
You've done a cruise?
I've done once in high school. It was like our senior week kind of thing. We went on a cruise.
Have you?
No, never have.
I don't think I.
I'll never go on another one.
Yeah,
They're
I
not
can't
for me.
Imagine.
The rooms without windows. The rooms without windows that you can't fit through.
Can I just say the room? I was in the room without a window in the middle.
Oh.
Turn the air on, AC going. The sound of it so loud, and the air, pitch black room. Some of the best sleep I've ever gotten in my life.
Well, yeah.
It was divine.
Yeah. Wait till you find out about caves. Yeah, dude. But that's still nightmare
And then I,
fuel
like,
to me.
ponder.
What about caves?
You just get so like people are like I was lost in a cave, and Rory's like best sleep I ever had. We were so far down in that cave.
Yeah.
No light.
This you saying that? This is like asking me if I want to go spelunking for 40 minutes. I would go, no, I don't.
Yeah. That same trip where we went horseback riding, it was like not a glamping, but almost like a glamping area in remote Utah, where it's like, fancy prefab, thank you, cabins and like, whatever, Airstreams and stuff. But the person putting it together, it was like a media trip. The person putting it together was like, we're going to do some slot canyons. And everyone was like, how wide are these canyons?
Yeah.
And she
like
told
Antelope
us-
Valley type stuff.
Yeah.
And
And
she
it
goes,
was
you won't
like-
be able to fit through it. Well, then
yeah,
why
and
if
it was
there's a
like,
flash flood?
Yeah. And like, how long is this thing? And like one by one, everyone was like, we're actually not going to go to the slot canyons. I'm sure they're lovely. Send me some pictures. But I just like, even that degree of like having to scooch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Well,
no interest.
Nope.
In Antelope Canyon, when you walk through it, at the top of certain areas, they have these wooden boxes, and inside them are rope ladders. And so if a flash flood comes, somebody has to be on post to like know about it, and then they run, open the boxes, and kick the ladders down. And I said, well, how long will we have? They're like, well, usually you have at least an hour, hour and a half, maybe sometimes 30 minutes. And I'm like, and if they don't come and kick the thing, I go, oh, you just start running anyway, because you're gonna you want to catch up to the next one. You don't want to wait and see if somebody's gonna kick that rope down. And they say every year there's people who go without a tour that don't have this sort of thing. They have no idea a flash flood is coming. No. Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Well, known.
But I don't
have
romanticize that.
You've inspired tonight's nightmares. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I
thank
want
you
to
for
know
this
so much more, right? Well,
No,
you got
gotta
paid.
write us back.
I want
I need to know the money.
Stuff you
Yeah.
saw. I want to know why you made this decision.
Yeah.
Was it yours? Was it a family thing? I want to know.
Is there a
much.
number that gets you on that boat?
Yes.
4 months.
4 months.
For 4 months.
You gotta go for 4 months. That's what he
my
said.
God.
$750,000.
I mean, honestly, at this point, $750. But like,
Great delivery.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. I mean,
$500,000
Yeah,
cash.
Just
Honestly,
$112 a month and all good.
honestly,
What's yours?
Yeah.
What, the number?
Yeah.
It's so high. I don't want to do this at all.
$500,000 cash. You wouldn't go get on a boat for 4 months. Well,
No.
you're weighing it against a lot of other things.
No.
Okay.
I would not get on that boat for $500,000.
$5 million?
Yes.
200,000?
I go lower. Okay. Known, thank you so much. We wish you well. Sincerely, your pen pals, Rory Scovel.
Daniel Van Kirk.
Dave Holmes. Okay.
Hey, no, that's not it. We did it wrong. It's not it. We're back.
Ghostbusters!
What?
It's Let's Go. The
Okay,
Letters.
ready?